Welcome and good afternoon. This is Commish Orr, and today I have a little bit of a different video for you. It's something that I have worked on and I've spent a lot of time researching. Hopefully some of you, I don't know how many of you out there would want to know how to do this, but for those of you who do, this is the pretty easy way to do that. And that is creating your own dice roller. Maybe for tabletop baseball, or maybe you're here and have nothing to do with tabletop baseball and you just want a dice roller just for whatever else you have going on. Well, let's just check this out. Here's my dice over here. And every time I hit a key, look at that. It rolls and you'll notice the colors changing and all sorts of stuff happening over here. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. And it really only takes, 10 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes probably to set this up. I've spent hours looking this stuff up to figure out how to do this, and it's, as I said, it's surprisingly tough to find on the internet how to do this in Excel the way I wanted to have it done. Some of the stuff seems like it should be very easy to do, and it's not, unless you know the right commands or the right formulas to put in. So this is all done with formulas. It's not through, you don't have to have any programming knowledge or anything like that. And as I said, hopefully, even if this is a specific dice roller for History Maker Baseball, I should say that I wanted to set up. And I know many people just use regular dice, and that's fine. And I enjoy using regular dice as well. But there are occasions when I want to play digitally, and either where I'm playing doesn't have the dice available, I don't have my dice with me, or whatever the case may be. So I've worked to try to digitize as much as I can, and the dice roller was a big part of that. So I'm going to show you how to set this up very easily. I'm going to take all my hours of searching and boil it down to however long this video is, probably 10 minutes. And afterwards, you'll be able to have something set up like you see to the left here, where it will roll dice for you. All right, so first thing first. The first thing you want to figure out how to do is set up the dice. So in History Maker Baseball, there's 4 dice. 3 6-sided dice with numbers 1 through 6, and they are colored red, blue, and black. And then they have a die called a decider die that is either a dot or blank. And so they have that as well. So the first thing you have to do is figure out how to tell Excel to randomize a number between 1 and 6. I'm going to show 1 to 6, but I know there are other games that may take 1 to 10, 1 to 20, whatever it may be. And this will work the same no matter what game you may be playing. So that's what you see up here in the upper left. You kind of see, I'm going to hide all of this when I'm ready to play, so I'm only seeing the dice down here. But up in the upper left is where all the magic happens. And so whenever you want to put a formula in to have it do something, you have to start with an equal sign. And by the way, all the formulas I'm talking about today are down here, so they're more easily seen. And the first one we're going to use is this top one, and that is equals RANDBETWEEN, parenthesis 1, 6. That means it's going to give me a random number between 1 and 6, including 1 and 6. So if you type that into a cell in Excel and you hit enter, it will give you a random number between 1 and 6. This, by the way, these formulas work on, you have to have Excel. I have Microsoft Office 365. So you have to have a high enough version of Excel in order to get some of these formulas to work. They don't work with the older versions of Excel for whatever reason, because they're a little bit more advanced formulas, I think, but they make it a lot easier. There are ways to do it in the older Excel. It just may be more of a multi-step process. In any event, I'm going to show you, this is going to be my workspace over here, where I'm going to show you how to get what I have to the left here. That way they're both on the screen. So as you can see, RANDBETWEEN equals RANDBETWEEN 1, 6. So it's going to give me a random number between 1 and 6, and I want 3 of those dice. So I just pull the lower right-hand corner of that cell. It'll turn into a little plus sign, and you just pull it over to the right 2 spaces, and that gives you 3 dice between 1 and 6. Now you can take the time to format that. You can center it and all of that stuff if you want. I'm not going to take the time to do that here because these numbers up here are pretty irrelevant. Okay. I also wanted to, so that's the other thing with History Maker Baseball. Based on some of your results, you may have to look at a mini chart. And when you look at the mini chart, you roll 2 dice instead of 3, 2 6-sided dice. So I'm just going to pull this down to create 2 more dice down here below, so that I can create this little mini chart dice roller here. Okay. So that's great. Now I have a dice roller for the 3 6-sided dice, and I have a dice roller for the 2 6-sided dice for a mini chart. That's wonderful. The thing for History Maker Baseball, though, is that it sorts. You have to sort the dice in ascending order, basically, when you read them off. So if you just wanted your dice to roll this way and you just looked at them and said, okay, this is 2, 5, 6, that's fine. But I wanted it to actually automatically sort for me so that it automatically put them in the correct order. In that case, this is the one that seemed like it should be easy, but it wasn't easy to find out how to do that very easily. But it is very easy. So I'm going to come down here where I want my dice to actually display. So here's where I'm going to put the formulas to roll the dice up here. But where I'm actually going to have them displayed to me is down here. Okay, down in this area. I'm doing it over here so you can see it. And in this case, the formula you want is called equals. It's the second formula. Sort parenthesis. And you're going to highlight the cells that you want it to sort. In this case, the 3 random numbers at the top. And then you're going to put a comma. And then you are going to put another comma because we're just sorting those and we don't need to have anything else in the sort index space. So 2 commas. And then you want to put the number 1 for to sort in ascending order. And then you want to put a comma, and then you want to put the word true, or at least I did, because in my case, I was sorting the columns and not the rows. If these numbers would have been down, 5, 2, 6 down, then I would have put false here, and that would have sorted the row instead of the column. But since it's a column, you have to put true. So again, just to recap, equals sort, parenthesis, highlight the cells that you want to sort, the numbers you want to sort, comma, comma, 1, because you want to sort in ascending in my case, comma, true, because they're in columns instead of rows. When you hit enter on that, you only have to enter that formula once, and you'll notice it fills in to the right the next 2 spots because it knows there's 3 numbers here and you want 3 numbers down here. Okay? So very, very simple. And you're going to do the same thing down here. I did the same thing down here for my mini chart. I did equals sort, but in this case, I only wanted these bottom 2 numbers. And then again, comma, comma, 1, because it's ascending order, comma, true, because they were a column again. So now I have 2 rows, one for my 3d6 and one for my 2d6. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. Now, what about this space? Remember I told you that there's a decider die and it either shows you a blank or it shows you a dot, right? Well, you'll notice here D1, I have another random dice roll, and I'll put that over here. We go back to our RANDBETWEEN formula, so we go equals RANDBETWEEN. And in this case, I just did 0, 1, 0, comma 1, because I just wanted a number either 0 or 1. Okay? And what I wanted it to do is show a blank if a 0 came up and a big dot if a 1 came up. Okay? That's what I wanted to do. I want to show it down in this space. So what you have to do, you'll notice down here, this is the third formula. The third formula. Okay? And the way this reads is if D1, which was my 0 or 1 dice roll, is a 1, meaning the decider die, the dot came up, display character 110. Otherwise, it's displaying character 32. Now, what's character 110 and what's character 32? Well, in that case, you go to the Formulas tab. Oh, no, sorry. Go to the Insert tab. Go over here to Symbol. On the very far right, you'll see Symbol. And you click on Symbol. And then you want to, I went to Webdings. Webdings. And I selected Webdings. And if I scroll down just a little bit, there's the black dot that I wanted, right? So highlight or click on that, and it'll give you a character code down here. And you'll see character code 110. So as I said, if a number 1 came up on the die roll, I wanted this big black dot to be displayed. That's character 110. And if we go back to the top, there's a blank box here on the upper left. And we click on that, that's character 32. So that's what character 32 is down here. Okay. So I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to put equals if parenthesis, and in this case it's not D1, it's N1 as the cell up there in question, equals 1, display character 110, CHAR, parenthesis, 110, parenthesis, comma, CHAR, parenthesis, 32, parenthesis, and then a closing parenthesis. Okay, that means, again, if a 1 comes up on the 0 or 1 roll, then it's going to display character 110. If the 1 does not come up, meaning a 0 came up, it's going to display character 32, which was blank. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so 0 came up, it's showing a blank. Great, right? But look at this. You may have a hard time reading that. A 1 came up and it's displaying an N down here. It's not displaying the black dot that I had chosen. Why is that? Well, because if we go back home here, we'll notice that this is in Calibri font, not Webdings. So you need to come in here and select Webdings. Webdings. And once you select Webdings, the black circle shows up and the blank will show up with a character 32 result. So all is fine. Now again, you have to format these. So what I did was we come over here and look, I did 28, a 28 size font, just so they'd be bigger. And then I centered them using the alignment tool here, so they'd be centered in the spots. And I did the same down here. So you can choose whatever font you want. You can center things. You can make the dice look the way you want them. All right. So now we only have the color of the dice to deal with here. And in History Maker Baseball, at first I was thinking, oh, well, I'll just highlight these cells and I'll format each one so that the fill color is black, blue, or red, and that'll be fine, right? Well, not exactly, because some of the mini charts, it actually, you go to a different chart depending on which of the, what color die is the lowest. Okay? What color die is the lowest. So I needed it to not only sort my dice order, but I needed it to not just be in one standard order, black, blue, red. Otherwise, the black would always come up if it's to the far left, right? I wanted it to randomly decide which of the dice were the lowest one, black, red, or blue. At first, I thought I was going to have to create some dice up here and have this somehow display those, but that's almost impossible to do without some programming. And then I realized that it didn't need to be that tough. I just needed to have it give me a random a random selection from blue, red, and black. Okay, it just needed to give me a random selection for blue, red, and black. So what I used is conditional formatting. So if I come here, on the homes page, there's conditional formatting right here. And you'll notice manage rules. I put little rules in here. But before we get to that, you need to set this little table up. So right to the right of this, I'm going to put blue, red, black. Okay? Those are the three colors that I want to randomly assign. And I need a way for it to pick one of these randomly. Okay? So what I did is you put in this formula, the very bottom formula here, and that is equals sort by parenthesis. You're going to highlight the cells that you want it to randomize, comma, RANDARRAY, and in the RANDARRAY, we're going to put parenthesis 3 because there are 3 choices or 3 rows, comma, and there's 1 column. So 1 column of 3, or 1 column with 3 rows. So it's 3 comma 1. End parenthesis for that, end parenthesis overall. So what this formula does is it's going to sort these 3, blue, red, or black, randomly. And that's what RANDARRAY does. RANDARRAY says it's going to pick a random assortment of those 3. The 3, 1, again, is just how many rows, how many columns. So if we enter, you only have to enter it once here on the top one. It's going to randomly choose the color order. It's just going to randomly select it from the colors we put in here, blue, red, and black. Now I had to do it twice because I did it once for the main roll and once for the mini chart. I honestly don't think the mini chart matters, but I did it anyway. And here, you just pick any 2 dice. So I did blue and red just because I like the color blue and red. And I did the same random selection here, equals sort by, except here I'm using just these 2, comma, RANDARRAY, parenthesis. And in this case, it was 2 comma 1 because there's only 2 rows of selection in the 1 column. And there we go. Now we have a random selection of these 2 boxes here, or these 2 colors here. Now I still don't have the colors down here, right? Still do not have the colors down here. So in that case, you use the conditional formatting like I was alluding to earlier. And you come up into conditional formatting. I'm going to show you here as I'm going to click on this one over here, click conditional formatting, and you're going to select new rule actually, manage rules, because I have to have 3 different rules. And you'll notice the rule is formula F1, so it's going to show whatever this F1 is here. If it's red, it's going to format it with a red fill color. If it's blue, it's going to format it with a blue fill color. If it's black, it's going to format it with a black fill color. Okay? So here we go to conditional formatting. We can do manage rules, and we're going to do new rule. And you select use a formula to determine which cells to format. It's a very, 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 very bottom one. Okay? And the cell in question, we're going to do equals. And we're going to look at this top one here. This is we're filling the first box. So the color of the top one is what matters. If that equals, and you put this in parentheses, black, or excuse me, quotes. If it's black, then you format and you go to fill and you go to a black color to fill it black. So again, equals P1. If it's black, then it's going to fill it with black. And you have to put the quotes in there. Okay. And you're going to do another new rule. And you're going to go use a formula, and you're going to say equals, and you're going to say P2 equals, quote, red, quote, and you're going to format, and you're going to pick a red color, and that'll format it red. And you're going to click OK to save that, and then you're going to do the final new rule. Use a formula to determine equals blue in quotes, and you're going to select blue. I like that, blue. You're going to say OK. Now I messed the second one up by putting P2 when I should have put P1 because we're only on this first cell right now. So I got to edit that. And I just changed this to P1. Okay. So again, since we're on this cell here, this first cell, we got to put all three colors in here. So it's going to look at P1. It's going to see, is it blue? If it's blue, it's going to format it with a blue fill. If it's red, it's going to format it with a red fill. And if it's black, it's going to format it with a black fill. And we've used the quotes to quote those color names because that's the way they're displayed here. And we're going to click OK. Now you'll notice that it is, the top one's black and this is black. So you'll go to the second cell and you'll do conditional formatting again, except this time we're going to look at the second row. Same exact formatting. You're going to use all three formats for all three colors, except you're going to use P2 instead of P1, or whatever the cell is that you're referencing. And you're going to do the same thing for the third one, except you're going to pick P3, because that's going to be the last color. And I did the same thing down here for these two, you'll notice. In this case, again, you're just going to conditional format, except this time I only needed two colors, blue and red. So I only needed those two rules, blue and red. You'll also notice that this, you can't see it because the numbers are black and it blends in with the black. So I made the font white, and you can do that with this little font color here. And then I made it bold just so it'd stand out a little bit better. Okay. So if you do that, and I think I did, the other thing I did is I did a border. So I did a border around everything. So that's why you see the little border here. So it displays very nicely. And then you'll notice that when you do that, it'll display everything for you. Now, you noticed while I was doing this that as I was entering things, it was rolling all the time. And you may think to yourself, I don't want it to do that. Well, Excel by default will roll pretty much whenever you make a change to the worksheet, it will re-roll. It'll recalculate the formulas. So if you want to make sure it only rolls when you want it to, then what you do is you want to come up here to Formulas, the Formulas tab, and go over here to Calculation Options, and see it's automatic. You change that to manual. And now we can make changes to whatever we want here, and it's not going to roll automatically. It will roll every time we hit the F9 key. So once we hit F9, it'll keep rolling and keep giving us random selections. Okay, that's all there is to it. Now this, you notice I didn't follow this all the way through, but you'll want to do this. Once you do this for all the boxes or all the selections you want, it'll show up just like it does here on the left. Okay, so again, just wanted to do a quick little video, show you how to do that because it was a lot tougher than it should have been. Here are the formulas in question. I'll put those in the description of the video so that you can just copy and paste if you need to. You rewatch the video if you need to see different parts, but this will give you a handy little dice roller that every time you hit F9 will randomly roll dice for you, and they'll be sorted in ascending order, and the color will change randomly as well. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Again, it took, 15 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes to put this together. Once you know how to do it, it's very quick. And I'll just be hiding these first few rows, not deleting, because that'll delete the underlying formulas and such, but just hiding them. So if I hide this, then I have my dice roller, and I don't see those formulas up there to deal with. But every time I hit F9, it'll just give me another roll of the dice. So hopefully you find that handy, and it's something that you can use, whether it's for your tabletop baseball games, tabletop sports games, or just you want to roll dice on Excel just in general. Let me know what you think of that. Let me know down in the comments. Leave me a comment. Let me know if this was helpful for you, if this is something you plan on doing, or if this is something maybe you don't ever play digitally and you don't need it. Let me know that as well. I'd love to hear how you play, whether you ever use digital dice or not. That's where we will leave things today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, have a great evening.